all of us in the rest of the world look at these developments, you know, with a lot of intrigue, and it's interesting to watch. What we would like to know is, how is all of these contributing to the way in which exchanges and securities trading is evolving worldwide? Because just like what is happening in Europe today, in other parts of the world, you know, exchanges are talking to each other. Exchanges are creating linkages in terms of processing, settlement, trying to, you know, lure each other's OTC market on stream and so on. If you set one step behind, you know, the painful experiences that you're going through, what do you think is happening? You know, and what in terms of competition, and where is the inevitable trend in that way?
I think the thing that is most sexy is the competition at the stock exchanges. And everyone believed that, you know, if you go back, let's say 10 years, that's where the action was going to be. And there was some action, but the action was sort of stilted or stunted in that the New York Stock Exchange did do a merger with Euronext. Somewhat interesting, but everyone thought this was going to be the next merger, the consolidation of Europe, and then once Europe consolidated, then Asia would consolidate, and America would consolidate, and it hasn't happened that way. We have had consolidation between London and Borsa Italiana. But you know, the fact of the matter is now, and this will get back to your point, which was a relevant one, those organizations that are broader than just stock exchanges are really the ones who seem to have a more defined future, because they have broader revenue streams and more diverse business lines. So for an organization like Deutsche Börse, our stock exchange, and specifically stock exchange business, is only 15% of what we do. The bulk of what we do is in the post-trade area and the derivatives exchange. And in that front, I think you need to look at consolidation at the level of the industry. So on the CCP front, there are hopes for consolidation. Probably will not take place the next, and not take place for a number of reasons. You could have had a consolidation of stock exchanges for the efforts as it relates to the OTC CDS initiative. The regulators and politicians in Europe did not want that consolidation. They wanted a U.S. approach, and they wanted another approach under European law that would more reflect the will and desire.
Was that different from the way the Scandinavians have been approaching this?
The Scandinavians, this is with the OTC CCP for a CDS, which was really being driven by the regulators and the politicians' desire for imposing more integrity on the market. Where what's happening,
not harmonization.
It's about integrity, risk reduction.
Okay.
That's what they wanted to go through a CCP to reduce the counterparty risk, and to hopefully be able to net and to get a better handle on it, so we don't repeat the problems of the past.
Okay.
So there they've really set out their desire to have U.S. solution, European solution, and I assume an Asian solution coming down. So that makes it a little bit more difficult on with CCP consolidation, and the fact that the natural CCP consolidation for the equity markets takes place on a vertical basis, so between stock exchange into CCP.
And the CCP, who should own it? Like
it depends on the market. Who wants to play? Depends upon the marketplace. Depends on what's best for the market.
But is there a tendency among the European regulators to have the CCP owned, or at least controlled?
No. Because the global model is one of vertical integration, and the vertical model exists in Chicago, where the CME, which is a public company, owns the CBOT, and the clearing functionality resides within that vertical model, which is accepted in the United States. Europe looks to the United States as the example
Does
of
it really?
Absolutely.
Because
in post-trade? Absolutely.
In post-trade, yes, because there's a lot of business in post-trade.
But this is post-trade. This is the CCP is post-trade. Okay. So there is the model that's been set in the United States. And one thing that has happened in this financial crisis, because I think where you're going with your question is horizontal versus vertical. No one talks about that anymore. And the reason why they don't talk about it anymore is the issue is efficiency and integrity. and to the fact that you need an efficient model that can withstand the stress tests of the most extreme nature which occurred during the last year, the vertical model has won. And so the moralistic tendency to favor horizontal versus vertical is gone.
The thing about being vertical is that it means that every player is highly commoditized. You know, everyone can do what the other does. No one provides a value proposition or a strong value proposition. So like a clear stream, all that you're required to do is settlement. You know, and then somebody else will take the post-settlement business. Do you see that happening? Or?
Well, I think you have to separate the businesses. In the ICSD business, that's the OTC bond market. And the OTC bond market could lend itself to a clearing entity which would reduce the number of settlement transactions. The problem, though, and you have to look at each market differently, the OTC bond market really doesn't lend itself to a netting because there's no harmonization of issuers. So you have a tremendous number
fragmented, highly fragmented.
So it doesn't really lend itself.
Not transparent.
Right. So so it's a lot easier to have harmonization around other OTC markets, like, let's say, the U.S. government market or the German Bund market, where there's one issuer, different issues, but one issuer, where the stock exchanges, where there's a finite number of issues. And so, you know, at certain levels, it makes sense to function on a vertical level. In some levels, it makes sense to function on a horizontal level. It depends upon the market.
Why would your clients work with you and not with someone else on that?
Well, we just had the conversation about vertical versus horizontal. And I don't even like to use those terms anymore. We consider ourselves an integrated organization. So within the Deutsche Börse Group, we have a clearing company and we have a settlement company which does collateral management, and we work together as an integrated team. So we were able to put together a cleared repo product that then gave functionality to pledge its positions to the central banks. No one else had it. Unique in the market. In the United States, it doesn't exist. With our competitors, it doesn't exist. We were the only ones in the market to have it. And that's why I say this issue of horizontal, vertical, when you have a product that that eliminates risk at a point in time of the maximum inflection point of risk, everyone's going to gravitate.
Now, you could